September 25th, the new Fox Tuesday kicks off with New Girl's new season. Then welcome Ben and Kate.
Stay away from my sister before you find out what 6 years of Krav Maga feels like. Well, like year and a half plus like 4 years on and off I was traveling.
Followed by another all-new New Girl.
What am I looking at here? Pure, unadulterated friendship.
And the Mindy Project.
Can't believe you're tattling.
Tattling is when a little girl does it, okay? When a hot woman does it, it's called whistleblowing.
The new Fox Tuesday, premieres September 25th on Fox.
You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, King Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Revolution After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Revolution After Show.
Hey guys, what is happening? Revolution is starting next week, and we are so excited that we had to come here a week early just to talk about the show before it even starts, because I can't wait. So joining us today, we have across from me, the ever so lovely Kristen Elizabeth.
What's up, guys?
And next to her, the even more lovely Derrial Christon.
Hello, guys. How you doing?
And sitting next to me, Kristen number 3, Kristin Carole.
Hey, guys.
And guys, I am Dave, Kristen, Klein. And Bing is for doing, and we are doing the Revolution After Show. And today we have a very special guest with us, John Kim, a.k.a. the Angry Therapist.
Hey
How
guys.
are you doing?
Good, how are you?
So John is here because he does a lot of online work, and he's here to discuss with us the premise of the show, Revolution, because it would drastically affect you.
Yes, it would.
So with that said, let's talk about the premise of Revolution and what it's all about. I mean, so electricity, it's gone, and I have my iPad here, I have a laptop, I have a computer, I play video games every single day. I would be screwed. Let's just put it straight.
Can I just say that I didn't have internet all weekend and it was amazing? Like, thank you AT&T for screwing me over, but I just painted and I wrote and it was awesome.
I mean, sometimes it's fun. I like whenever I'm from Chicago and Kristen is as well. And I know whenever there would be blackouts because of thunderstorms, it's fun. It's like get with your friends and just kind of do everything else that you don't usually do.
It's fun, but every day I would go crazy. I get pissed off when the service on my phone goes out, so I can't imagine surviving without electricity for a long period of time.
Well, it's not just regular electricity. We're talking about cars that also don't work or
Right.
flying.
Flying,
And can you imagine? I have to go so far on the 101. If I did not have my car and I had to walk or take a horse,
I want this to happen.
Not be good.
Yeah. You would never go anywhere except for the area in LA that you live. And that's it.
That's it.
That is all you would be at.
I would be a pirate and I would assemble a crew.
You'd sail the
On all the seas in LA? Are you talking
Yes.
about those rivers? The LA River?
No, I'm gonna go all over the world, but it's like, think about it, like you wouldn't have to pay your college loans back, you wouldn't have to pay the banks any money, like your bills, they have no records of it, like everyone's got great credit, like let's look at the positives here, come on.
No, I think there's a lot of positives. I think it'd kind of be fun for a while to see what it'd be like and see how things would go. And like Kristen said, the premise is that it's not just like normal electricity, like you can't plug things into outlets, the batteries have gone out. Planes are crashing into the ground and blowing up, and it's just like every possible thing that uses electricity in any way, portable, no matter what, it's gone, and you can't use it.
Yeah.
And you just got to think about how many things do we have that use electricity that you don't even really think about too much.
Everything.
So much.
I mean, everything we do is based around electricity.
medicine. You
Yeah.
know, any hospital is gone. And we're talking about people are going to be dying all of a sudden because they're not going to be on, you know, whatever they're hooked up to, or just
Right.
creating more of that.
It would be
It's gonna
such
a huge problem.
a much more honest world, though, if we were all like robbed of our electronic masks. And, you know, our Facebooks.
Well, if you can't be anonymous anymore, that definitely helps. Oh, anonymous.
Uh-oh.
I have a vendetta against you. Sometimes. But let's talk about science!
Science! She blinded me with science!
We have the glasses crew on the other side.
That's right.
She's ready to go.
That's right.
Well, just a minute. It won't fit on with my... Here we go.
So, glasses crew, what is the science
okay.
behind this, and what is
right.
happening? Oh, wait, let me point out, I didn't say Amir is in the booth today. Thank you, Amir. Amir is doing a great job.
Amir? All right, guys. So, this actually happened in 1989, and what happens when blackout occurs is it's caused by an explosive event on the sun called a coronal mass ejection. And what happens is it blasts billions of tons of electrically charged particles directly at the Earth, which induces huge electrical currents and produces a magnetic shock wave. And if the Earth is in the path of that shock wave, our planet's magnetic field will react to the event and could overload our electrical systems and cause massive damage. And the electrical activity can damage our power distribution system because our electrical grid right now operates to capacity. Wow. So we can't handle this. It's like, I think they say like 1 million Earths can fit in the sun. And basically it's like when you have two magnets, when you have a huge magnet and a smaller magnet, what happens is the smaller magnet, you know, it shakes, which is the electronic wave, the magnetic wave, and it has to align with the other magnet, which would cause all the damage to happen here. But I'm not sure that it would go like that for 15 years. That's the part about this premise that bothers me is really it's not going to be fixed for 15 years if that does happen.
Well, here's a theory, and this was a 2012 end of the world theory, is that people thought that what is going to happen and might happen is that the polarities of the Earth are going to reverse, which would cause the same sort of effect where all of our electricity, all of our things are based on that magnetic field. But if that all reverses, none of that's going to work anymore because we're all based on one certain polarity. So none of our electricity is going to work, and that's what they thought the whole end of the world thing, what some theories are, is going to be. So I guess if that happened, you could probably reinvent, in some ways, electricity, but just by reversing polarities or the way that you create electricity. But that's at least what I've heard. One theory is, so maybe that might be a way. But one thing I want to point out real quick is that J.J. Abrams actually said, unlike Lost, you'll actually find out why things happen in the show, which is awesome. And he said you will find out why the electricity goes out. So
nice. Well, I'm excited for the science.
I'm glad we'll actually find out. For the science!
The science!
Science!
She blinded me with science.
We have to have a science section every episode, I think.
I think so.
Yes, I think so too. And I will wear these glasses when I talk about
We'll
it.
get you lab coats for next time
Yes.
too.
I'm going to just add to this costume every week.
It'll be This Week in Science!
Are we done with science? Can I take these off?
Do you have more to add?
You know, no, not tonight.
Not tonight.
I need to save some science.
We'll
you
have
guys
some
need to
more
come back
science.
next time for
more science next time.
For sure.
So let's move on then to the cautionary tale that this tells us, that the whole premise is trying to tell.
You know what I think? Like, why can't we just right now say, hey, everyone keep their jobs? Like, if you're a cop and this happens, stay a cop. If you're the mailman, still deliver my letters, not my emails. You know what I'm saying? Like, can't we all just make a pact and be like, stick to your jobs and let police stay in order?
Well, it's difficult when you work in entertainment, where entertainment is all based on electricity right now. So I guess doing hosting stuff, maybe we could go like, let's do some live events, guys, and get people riled up. But
So take our wagon and go visit people. Be an old school.
Yeah, get a bunch of horses.
Traveling.
I just don't understand, since we have this order now, it's not like reverting back to civilization completely, because we do have order now. And so how is it possible that we lose all those steps that we've achieved over centuries of hard work putting together, you know, our democracy and police forces, and it's not just all going to go away. I really don't think people would totally abandon everything that we've worked for.
I don't know. Okay, I'm going to quote Tommy Lee Jones here in Men in Black, but he said, you know, a person is smart, but, you know, people are panicky, and you get a group of people together and all of your power goes out, it's not going to be good because you have that group think. You don't have a single individual. If we sat down together and said, the power is going to go out, let's figure this out. you know, the four of us could probably do that. You add 50, you know, a couple 100,000 other people in the area, and you're gonna get a bunch of panic.
I think I would be running and grabbing the nearest crossbow. That's definitely what I would be doing. Just throwing that out there. But you know, I kind of think I go bounce back and forth between those two ideas because I definitely think like, well, you know, we had democracy and we had a way of ruling for a long time before we had electricity, a long time. And I think the main panicky thing was we've adapted so much to the way that we live now. Would people know how to revert back to that?
They wouldn't. I don't think they would. I mean, look at it like if someone got sick. I mean, that affects the hospitals. It affects everything. People, it would just affect so many different things. I just don't think that people could revert back to the way it was
even,
years ago.
Yeah, communication with people. You see people at the same table and they're texting each other.
Right.
No, if you don't have somebody to text to, you're just going to sit there and not say anything.
So the question is then...
Those people, not. I put my phone away.
I text when my roommate's in the room, to my roommates. So the question then is, what do we do then if something like this happens? What is the tale that this is kind of telling us, and how should we possibly react?
Go to your nearest Ralph's and get every water jug that you can possibly store in your location. Get all the food that you can get.
I feel like, so Derrial Christon and I are going to be doing Walking Dead, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of parallels to if there's a zombie-apocalypse and all the electricity goes out. I'm like, I'm getting guns, I'm getting a crossbow, and I am getting everything at Ralph's and the pharmacy.
Yep. And maybe In-N-Out on the way, too.
The last of it.
The last.
What will we do without fast food?
You know what? I honestly think that people need to realize that we are just animals and we're meant to just live out each day as a simple purpose to survive until the sun goes down each day. And people have forgotten that. For some reason, technology has made us all very lazy. It's like we won't even write letters anymore.
True.
It's hard work writing.
I think
just throwing it out.
I think what will happen is it'll cause people to come back to the present.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Force yourself to live in the moment.
I definitely think, and like I was saying with that blackout, when blackouts would happen in Chicago, I would love those days. And even though like I said I love video games, I love watching movies, I'm a big computer nerd. My major in college was computer science.
Yeah.
So I'm a big computer guy, but I love those days. It was just fun. And it's just like, I feel like you said we would readapt to it and we get used to it. But let's talk about the actual characters on the show, as so far as we know, and how they might react to it. Because it looks like from the previews, there's going to be a militia, maybe some democracy kind of falls apart in ways. There's like different sort of warlords. And it kind of seems like just people are kind of making their own little survival groups.
Well, I think what it seems is like it's a family reuniting from what the trailer looks like. It looks like Charlie, the girl, has to go off on a journey to kind of find her father's brother and have him team up to go rescue her brother who was, kidnapped from the militia. That's what I got from the trailer. So it looks like it's basically about a family just trying to reunite in times like this. So forget everything else, and you're just fighting for your family at this point.
Yeah, and there still seems to be like that good versus evil component to the show. So I think that's going to make it really interesting because you're going to have those two different sides that are battling each other throughout the season. So
I think that there is the whole militia aspect though to it again with that evil aspect.
Gustavo Fring.
Yes.
Breaking Bad fans from the last
let
show
me just
I
throw
came
out
off.
that there's going to be a lot of crystal meth in this show because he's there. The whole militia is probably up on crystal meth the whole
think
time.
so, too.
That's probably why they're joining. He's like, guys, I got all the meth right here, and it's the blue stuff.
It's the blue stuff.
And not only that, for any of Once Upon a Time fans, he's a genie in there. So now we've got a meth dealer and a genie on your hands. It's
Juan Carlo Esposito.
He is the
his
man.
Actor name.
Yeah.
Juan Carlo is awesome, and I just want some Los Polos Hermanos right now.
Polos
Hermanos. Some Polos guys. But I think, again, back to what we were talking about, I do think that we're going to see factions in the show, and there's going to be the people, like the family kind of had a farm, just trying to survive on their own, and I mean, I know for me, I have no idea how to farm, so I probably couldn't do that. I'd have to join somebody else. But it's just there's going to be people on the farm trying to survive. There's going to be militias and groups fighting and warring against each other. Because I think another premise is some people do know why the power went out and how to get it back, so they're also fighting for electricity.
A very interesting aspect with the characters is that the kids, Charlie and Danny, if you think about it, this happened when they were very young. So they actually grew up as huntsmen, as wilderness, very resourceful, and they didn't have technology, and they're the ones sort of leading this show. and they are probably going to be the best at it because they were raised with the bow and arrow to hunt, because they didn't know technology before. So I like that aspect of the show.
Right, because as we should mention, the show does take place 15 years later, as opposed to something like Walking Dead, which I was talking about before, which is kind of just seeing it all happen. This is 15 years afterwards.
Did they not do that because of Walking Dead?
I think they just decided, and I know from the guy who created the show, his whole ambition from the show, they didn't even have the electricity premise initially. His entire idea was, he was like, I want swashbuckling in a post-apocalyptic America.
Was that the writer, Eric Kripke?
Yeah, that was Eric Kripke. That was the initial premise, and then J.J. Abrams and his co-writer kind of said, like, hey, let's throw on this electricity element to Hawaii, it's a post-apocalypse. But the whole initial premise was swashbuckling, sword fighting in a post-apocalyptic America.
I mean, what I think is really interesting, though, is, like, what do you do moments after that happens? Like, what if you're in surgery and, you know, electricity goes out? Like, that's what I want to see.
I think you're just screwed. I think that's, like...
But that's the most interesting part. Like, what are the initial steps? I don't want to go 15 years later. Like, I want to see the initial steps of what
happened
happens.
in between.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil it. I watched the episode. I was so excited.
I heard that they just blast forward, though, right past what really...
I watched the first 5 minutes of it, and the first 5 minutes have some of the beginning, and I'm not going to say anything about it, but, like, you do at least see some of it happening, but
they
I only
go
watched 5
back
minutes.
a little bit. Because they all have, with that show, there's memories in there, so without giving too much away.
Right,
they
so
don't
maybe
just
they'll
leave
be...
it completely in the past, but they don't, it is focused mostly in the 15 years from now, but I think you're going to see more of what actually...
Do you think as the
happened.
season goes, it flashes back and you start seeing pieces of what happened right after?
I mean, I would think, that seems like how they're kind of setting it up. I don't want to spoil anything for you guys.
I would hope so. I would hope that that's what it is,
Yeah.
because that's the most interesting part of it, is how we adapt to that huge change in all of our lives. That's the interesting part.
Yeah, as long as it's not like people warring against each other. I hate when it becomes like people just acting like idiots with each other.
I feel like it's going to be cities become concrete jungles and it's like a war. And that's not really what I want to see. I want to see the characters' development and them, you know, having to deal with this.
Right.
Although I kind of liked, I mean, being from Chicago, they walk around down
They're going to Chicago! They're
Yeah.
going to Chicago, and I'm excited for that.
Like Wrigley Field is just taken over. And I was like, oh, it's home.
Jungle.
That's screw Wrigley Field. It can get taken over for all I care.
Whatever,
For
White
all I
Sox
care.
fan over there.
But that's why I'm excited for this show. It's going to Chicago, and that's really why I'm watching it. But let's talk about, what do you guys think? How would you react, you yourself, if this happened to you, and how do you think we would react?
Honestly, I feel like this entire civilization is like far beyond what any single mind could dream up. And in today's world, people are constantly trying to escape life because we're living in this like state of hypertension. Like, we're not supposed to be in cars going like 90 miles an hour. We're not supposed to be able to talk to people 3,000 miles away. Like, we're constantly drinking, taking drugs, going to the movies, trying to escape. You know what we're supposed to do? We're supposed to be living out each day as survivalists, and that's all we're supposed to do.
I would try and get to my closest friends and family and strategize and create a plan that we could all survive together. I mean, I'm from Ohio originally, so it would be a far stretch for me to get there quickly. But
Pennsylvania, I'll walk with you.
Especially with no
We'll walk together, Kristen. We'll walk together.
Okay,
But
so you two will go together, and us two will go together. That's why we're on opposite sides.
Where are you from, John?
LA, here.
Yeah, so you're set.
So you're
so we're actually going to John's house.
Yeah, well, I got John's house.
Can I be part of your family?
Yes.
I do want to bounce off of something that Kristen said, and I've noticed for myself personally, especially as I've gotten older, when I kind of tend to do things like that are almost life-threatening in a way, because sometimes I do parkour things, sometimes I go on like rock climbing expeditions, and it's just like, I almost feel the most alive when I'm doing that stuff. And sometimes I'm just like, wow, I love doing this because all you're focused on is survival. It's that basic human instinct that you're tapping into, just living. And it's something that's just really thrilling about it. So that, I think, would be kind of awesome to go back to that and just live that way. But, I mean, how I would react, I think at first I would flip out of how the hell do I contact everybody I know? Because you don't have cell phones, you don't have email, we don't really write letters anymore. Who knows if I would just be like, I need to get to everybody I know.
You know
grab
what?
my roommates.
Let's be honest. I live 3,000 miles from home. I go home maybe once a year. Like, come on. I'll see you guys at some point. Like, let me just, like, paint and write, enjoy stuff.
No,
like,
I don't think I'd be going home, honestly. Sorry, Mom. Sorry,
I'm
Dad.
not coming home. I'm going to finally enjoy my life without, like, having to look at my phone every minute of the day. I mean, what do you think, John?
You can do that.
I think it's easier to accept if you know the whole world doesn't have it, as opposed to if you just lost your phone and everyone has communication.
Exactly. This internet thing this weekend, like, I was like, okay, I'm fine with this, but I really wish that everyone didn't have internet this weekend and not just me.
You know what? I didn't have internet because I just moved and my Wi-Fi is not working or installed yet.
So we both.
So I didn't have internet.
We're not
either.
connected.
There we go.
Honestly, I think I would start to panic though, because if the entire world is like this, I would start thinking about food resources. Like how, I mean, even if we go out and okay, we're gonna go kill wildlife. How much wildlife is there?
In
out
LA.
there in LA.
Yeah, of all
What am I
places.
gonna, you know, I mean, I guess I could use some coyotes, but I mean, you know, how much wildlife is
Snakes.
actually snakes and rabbits, yes.
There you go.
But eventually it's gonna run out. I mean,
Guys.
if the entire world is like this, eventually it's gonna run out.
We're eating humans. We're
I would
becoming
just,
cannibals.
I'd
gonna
want to
be
be with my
Walking Dead.
family, and I feel like I'm not communicating with, especially my mom back home. I think if I went to Chicago to see her, she'd be trying to come to LA to see me, so we'd have to pray that we meet each other
Just
like on
miss
the
each
road.
other.
But if there's no communication that way, I think she would for sure try to walk over to me. So I guess I just stay put.
Yeah, but then you have no communication to even know where to meet. You know, like our family's going to be trying to come across country to meet at a certain place, but we have no idea where that would be.
Messenger pigeon, maybe.
Pigeon, maybe. Yeah.
And Al, listen to Harry Potter, Al.
John, why do you think that people are so excited about this show? I mean, I know everyone loves the premise. I've heard mixed reviews about people who have watched the first episode, but the idea has really gotten everyone's attention. I mean, what do you think is behind that?
I think because it tugs on everyone's fear.
Yeah.
Yes,
You know,
just a world we're not
what
used
if,
to.
right?
Yeah.
And I think what would happen is half would be fight or flight panic whenever something crazy happens, but then the other thing that happens is people get close really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You
think
know, like hearts grow.
I think my two instincts would be find all my well, not family in Chicago. That'd be too far, but like all my close friends. Like first instinct, get my close friends together, and then just try and get like food and survival things.
I really like what he said about your heart grows, because I mean, I feel like back in the day, everyone, especially females, are like, I want to go back to the way things were when, like, there was one family phone and guys wrote you letters. It's like your heart does grow bigger when technology and communication and everything's not so easy.
Yeah,
That's true. I mean, you'll have a lot of time to do that.
But it's almost like we're all robots, right? I mean, I really feel like a lack of technology would help us.
I mean, sometimes I definitely think there's too much technology, especially with cell phones and internet. We're just constantly checking so many things.
Let's just keep the internet for, like, you know, looking stuff up and information purposes, but not for communication.
And for AfterBuzz.
And for AfterBuzz. That's
Okay,
very
and
important.
for iTunes.
And for therapy.
And for
therapy.
No, we can do face-to-face.
Yeah, can you explain angry therapist and why this would affect you so much?
What do you want to
How would this affect you if there was no technology?
So most of my I call it a public practice. So everything I do is pretty much online. So I'm using technology, for example, Google Hangouts to run groups and connect people from different parts of the world, and Skype and all these different things, blogs and therapeutic tools, apps, cell phones, all that stuff, ebooks. So I'm kind of I want to be in your pocket.
Yeah.
So if the electricity, if there's no energy, I don't exist.
I'm sure though, if this
disappear.
if this happened, imagine how many people would be trying to get therapy. Because they'd be like, "Oh my God, my life is gone." You would be set for life.
John, can you
have no
please-
money anymore?
Yeah, but I'm like, you would have no money.
Okay,
Chickens. They'll trade chickens.
Can we do a therapy session for a minute? Can you please counsel us? We've all we got our cell phones taken away. There's a blackout right now. What are you gonna tell us to do? Yes, please give me
Are
some
you
therapy.
serious?
Yeah.
I can't even contact my friends, man. I can't even contact my friends. What the hell do I do?
How do you feel?
I feel depressed and lonely. Lonely's the main feeling I'm feeling right now. I'm very lonely.
It would also be interesting to find out who will become the leaders, because obviously what we consider a leader right now would not take the same case because we wouldn't have television, we wouldn't have radio, we wouldn't have internet, the way to communicate to different states and cities. So would it be just you think it would be groups, like, you know, your local neighborhood tough guy who's going to take on, or is it the therapist who now become the leaders because your way of communicating with people is a way that relaxes people and they can relate to, you know, how to move on in their life since all this stuff is not there anymore?
I think what would happen was people would go into their tribes and you would have all the segregation.
Do you think there'd also be democracies, though, in certain aspects? Like, or do you think it would just be leaders and tribes? Or do you think there'd be different tribes who have, like, democracy set up? Like, what do you think?
Just over time, there would be a system, but I think in the beginning it would just be chaos, and which would be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and girls shooting crossbows.
Yes. But you definitely have to wonder, though, as you said, like, who would you be in this situation? I've always wondered that, especially I've been watching a lot of Walking Dead preparing for the new season. I'm just like, would I be that alpha male leader or would I not be? I mean, like, you can say who you hope you would be, but what would really happen? What part of you would come out in that situation?
Personally, I think once the initial shock wore off of me, I would be ready to survive. I would do anything to survive.
I would body slam into the Vons right next to where I live and just be like grabbing waters everywhere.
Okay, honestly, I feel like I have intelligence, but my street smarts are where I'm really capable, so I'm doing the pirate ship thing. All aboard.
You're heading down to Santa Monica and taking a boat.
I'm taking the boats.
I'm just going to be...
all of them, and I'm just taking all the boats. So you guys can all have a ship, and we'll just command the seas.
I'm going to commandeer your ship.
Fine. It's not
just so
gonna
you know.
happen. Walk the plank.
Because I'm going to be a ninja, and ninjas hate pirates.
He's going to have his crossbow, so you're going to be a pirate team.
Watch out.
Listen,
I have swords.
1, family and friends. 2, food. 3, crossbows.
And 4, Macy's, because I'm going to get some clothes for the winter time when it's cold, and I need to layer up. I'm keeping it real right now.
Hey, smart. Everybody like, dude, that guy, he's getting all the girls. Best most fly, dude.
I'm going to keep them warm. I'm keeping them warm.
You start your own tribe.
You got all the swag.
Of your own family, all tribe.
Let's be honest. If we all live in LA, we're not going anywhere because we don't walk. So we'll make it like a block.
Hey, but we're not from here though, so we will walk.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
That's true.
You walk in the Midwest.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Just be like, heck
Hours
with
a
this,
day.
I'm going to the beach.
Or we sail.
So, sail the seas with Kristen Elizabeth. So let's sail on to the next topic. That was the perfect transition,
Nice
by the
segue.
way.
I like that. I like that.
To who is involved on the show, because we got some big names on the show. We got J.J. Abrams on the show.
John Favreau.
John Favreau. Kirky's a big name, too.
Yeah, he was on Supernatural. That's one of my favorite shows. So
I like Billy Burke. I'm
Billy
excited
Burke.
for him to be in there.
Can we talk about the plot of Supernatural and how that's similar to this? Because just reading over it, it sounds like, you know, a family. There's somebody, you know, they lost a family member and then they're on this journey. And I'm like, this sounds a little
very similar.
familiar.
2 brothers on the move, you know, never staying in one city, losing multiple members of their family. It's very similar. And then it also kind of reminds me, I worked on Falling Skies as well, and it's that same type of scenario where, you know, you have people in a city and they have no idea what's going on in the next city over because they just have no communication with them. So, well,
Supernatural was a really well-reviewed show, and people love that show. So, and I believe Eric Kripke was both the creator and executive producer on it. So, hopefully he'll do the same thing with Revolution because he's got experience. He's shown and proven that he can do good things. J.J. Abrams has a great list himself. I mean, he doesn't really even need to be talked about, but we will. How amazing J.J. Abrams is. I mean, other than Lost never having any ending whatsoever.
Right.
Which I will always gripe about.
Do you think that Revolution will get the Lost fans? I mean, I like how Lost ended. Come on my ship, that bandwagon. Do you think the fans of Lost will watch Revolution?
Well,
I think so.
It's definitely something that they're hoping for because right now they really don't have that many big shows like this. And it's just like, usually series like this lately, ever since Lost, have sort of fallen and flopped.
Yeah.
So they're hoping that this is going to be the next Lost. And, I mean, when you've got people like this on board and such a great premise, I mean, as long as the writing holds up, and that's really what it comes down to. If the writing is good, if it holds up, I think it will definitely have that following because people are excited about this.
There is a lot of buzz about it.
It seems like this show has an element of action. I know when I was watching the trailer, it's got a great hook, and then it kind of smells Amish, and then suddenly it's got tons of action, and it drew me back in and had people fighting, and so maybe that's you know.
I want to see all that fighting and the swashbuckling and swords.
Yeah.
I really honestly don't understand though. I mean, they still have guns.
Yeah.
So why does it come to swords and swashbuckling? I don't know, but
I can answer that, but I won't.
Okay, Kristen knows. Because I was just watching, because even in the premise they have that. I'm just like, I mean, swords are awesome, and I definitely want to learn how to use one. But like, I don't know.
But what I would assume that your
it.
ammunition is going to be limited. I mean, there's only so much ammunition that they're going to be able to have if they have those guns. So
that's a
then
good
you have
point.
to go to your bow and arrows and.
But
all
you
the
can
other
still
things.
make ammunition because even in the medieval times they had guns. So they've had guns for a long time before we had electricity or power in any way.
Yeah.
They do explain that. So
Okay. So good.
You have all the insight.
You only have to wait a little bit to figure it out.
Is there?
Which is
Can
good.
you just tell me? Is there a voiceover, or how do we get all this information?
They talk about most of it.
Okay, the
actually
characters
on the
do.
show. It's a little bit like, well, remember when this happened, or
some
this is doing
expository dialogue.
A little bit.
I don't know how I'm gonna feel about that.
I think it's necessary for this one because there are so many questions like that where you're like, well, why don't you just have a bunch of guns and save them up? I mean, Walking Dead has so many guns.
That's what
why
I was
don't
thinking
these
about.
people? You don't see them shooting off
Right.
crossbows at zombies.
But I do guess in Walking
often.
Dead, every person has died, so you have a lot more guns to yourself. So
That's true.
there's that sense. But I guess, I mean, that's kind of the hard thing with premieres, and maybe that's why this is getting mixed reviews, is because you have to have that exposition. So maybe that's why people are kind of like, okay, let's get through this exposition and see how the next episode is going to be. But let's talk about some of the actual actors on the show, because a lot of these actors, relatively unknown, and this is kind of probably or hopefully for them going to be their big break. You got Tracy Spiridakis, I think that's how you pronounce her last name, but she's playing Charlie, kind of the main character that we've seen, and
She's very attractive.
This is absolutely
Very kick butt.
very kick butt and attractive, good combination.
That's a good combo.
And
badass chick.
I want to be her.
do it. Just do it. Go get crossbow training right now. But this is her first big, huge breakout role. And even like I was looking at IMDb to see her credits, and one of her she is known for is Rise of the Planet of the Apes as Party Girl #2.
Wow.
That's like what she's known for.
That's a great title.
This is definitely a big role for her.
Yeah.
And I mean, even just going down the line, I mean, you've got some actors who are well known. I mean, especially Los Pollos Hermanos is my favorite. But I mean, a lot of them even like aren't that big, and they're kind of rising stars. Like J.D. Pardo is in Twilight, but other than that, he wasn't the big role in Twilight. So he's kind of a rising up character, and he's going to be that hot dude in muscle shirts. So you got J.D. Pardo, and
You also got Billy Burke from Twilight.
oh, it's a lot of Twilight alum.
He was my favorite part of those movies. He's the dad.
I haven't seen
Kristen
Twilight.
Stewart. It's okay.
And Andrea Roth from Rescue
I mean, I
Me
can't
as
now
well.
after the Case Stu Rob Pattinson scandal. I just can't even bear to watch it now. Just throwing that out there. It would tear me apart. But go on, Kristen.
No, I don't have anything.
Okay.
For once. I'm just digesting what you said.
I like that it's a bunch of newcomers, though. It gets you attached to new actors, and then it makes you believe them in the role more because you're not sitting there like, oh, here's a big name A-lister they put in this pilot. There's a few familiar names, and I think it's better to have it behind the scenes because that gets you more interested, and then you can really get involved with these characters. And that's what I like about the show. I feel like Game of Thrones did the same thing to an extent.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Game of Thrones.
I feel like
Game of Thrones.
I feel like film has sort of abandoned storytelling for adults, and we have to go to TV to find it now. So a lot of these actors and actresses who are in TV, and from a lot of them that were in films, are now going back to TV because it's really there's nothing in the theater right now that I even want to see.
Lawless was pretty good.
You know what's surprisingly fun that looked terrible was the bike movie. It was actually a really fun
Premium
movie.
Rush.
It looked like it was going to be dumb, but I watched it with my family, and we were like, this was actually pretty fun. They just cut it well. I think it was just like nonstop cutting, and yeah, it was surprising. It surprised
me. All right, well, way to go against everything I just said. Thanks, guys.
Hey, we were saying like Premium Rush isn't like a great like down to earth like.
That's what people do. They hang
writing,
on
though.
to the one thing. Make sure you don't say anything wrong when you're speaking, because people hang on to the one thing that they can contradict.
Yeah.
That you said.
I really wasn't trying to contradict you because you're saying there's no
saw it
smart.
last weekend. I was like, I was recommending it to people. I was like, there's finally a good movie out.
You were saying there were no smart shows. I wouldn't call Premium Rush a smart movie, okay? So let me throw that out there.
So I was right. That's what I
Now,
want.
one thing I do hope that they do is stay true to form with the characters in the sense of, like, since there is no electricity and they're out in the pretty much outside and in the wilderness, that they're dirty. I don't want to see, you know,
Exactly, long
Pantene
beards.
hair and really groomed people. I want to see what you look like if there was really no electricity and you were out here, you know, just in survival mode.
Hey, I'm getting my personal barber, okay? Personal barber, so I always look this good every day.
I don't know, the girl in the picture, she's like perfect hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that changes. Like, I really do.
They
I
better
think
get
that's
dirty,
important. I really
if
do.
you know
I think
what
that's
I'm
important for
saying.
people to make it believable.
Dirty.
No, I agree with you. I definitely do
Very,
agree.
very dirty.
So dirty. So
What is going on right now?
let's take a break though to talk about the fact that, guys, we do this show and we would love your support in any way possible. So whether that be going to iTunes, rating and commenting on the show, even if it's negative, we will talk about it and we will talk about why you are wrong.
No.
On why you're wrong.
We will thank you. We will read your comments. We love you guys.
You're wrong.
We love you.
And we will also comment, watch us on YouTube. We love seeing the comments, as Kristen said. And really, we do. If you have any feedback for us, positive or negative, we like seeing it. We want to improve because we're doing the show for you guys and because we love doing it. And also, if you go to AfterBuzzTV.com on the late time of 11 p.m. Pacific time, I think that's like 2 a.m. It's for East time, we will be doing the show live, and we do have the chat open. So if anyone's on the chat, we will be interacting with you live, and you could be on the show. So definitely come chat with us and come interact in any way possible. So let's move on then to, what are you guys most excited for the show?
Beards and mustaches.
Beards and mustaches. All right.
A lack of razors.
And pirates, right?
That's where I was going with that.
Beards, mustaches, and pirates.
I know that's not in the show at all, but I have hope.
Well, if people start becoming unkempt, as we were talking about, the dudes will start having beards and mustaches.
I really hope that they're just realistic to the premise. That's all. If they're not, it's going to ruin it for me.
My electric razor wouldn't work anymore, so I haven't used normal razor in a while. I just
You're
feel like
gonna
I
have
give
to learn.
up. I give up.
Or old-fashioned barbershop.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
You know what? Everyone better, like, get really great bodies, too. 'Cause, you know, there can't be any fat dudes, like, in Lost. I don't know how that happened, but...
Well, yeah, you're right. After like the 5th season, it's like, how are you still
really fat? Okay,
What
go.
we eat's gonna change.
Maybe when he killed the deer, there's a
Exactly.
lot of fat in the deer.
Yeah, can we talk about that for a minute?
It's gonna go like paleo. It's gonna go backwards. It's gonna
I
go.
just started my
Did you?
paleo diet.
It's going back to
Can
because
see my
nothing's
abs.
processed.
That's true.
So you
I can
gotta,
also see
you know
your
what I'm saying?
canine teeth. They're really sharp now.
Yeah, so I think nutrition and diet will change. So
Yeah.
people will look good.
Yeah, we'll be eating what our ancestors ate. So unprocessed foods, everybody,
No,
please.
no more donuts.
It's all right. I don't need donuts anyways.
Oh,
I'm good.
That's unfortunate.
yeah.
I don't live life. Okay, I don't live.
Can I
I'm
just-
already prepping.
Can I just teach everyone a lesson for a moment? So when you eat
Science.
when you eat processed foods, your liver can either break down chemicals or it can break down fat. And if you're eating frozen foods, if you're eating processed foods, which is anything that you can't pick or find fresh, then your liver is continuously breaking down chemicals and not fat. So no matter what you eat, if it's processed, you're not going to lose the weight you want. Take these.
That's a nice little fact to know.
Science.
Science!
So let's go back to what you guys are excited for. Moving back, so Derrial, what are you excited for
Character
about the show?
development.
Yeah.
I really want to see where each one of the characters go. I'm interested to see the good versus evil component to the show. And since this is actually one of my honestly one of my deepest fears, I really want to see how they develop the storyline moving forward. So those are my 3 things.
Yeah. I'll go and say I just want to see swashbuckling in Chicago because that's always been my dream ever since I was a little kid.
Pirates take over Wrigley Field.
Hell yeah. So let's see some swashbuckling going on. I want to see that action happening. And I definitely do want to see how they have created this world who's adapted to a world without electricity. And that's kind of really the curious point and what I would love to see what they did with that.
I agree.
Yeah. I want to see the characters grow, and I love chemistry. If there's some good chemistry between some of the characters, I'm not talking like
I was thinking science now. I was
not
thinking science.
romantic ones, but just how people interact with each other and what they're put in these really, emergency situations. How that takes them, or when lives are put on the lines, or people that they care about if they're in trouble. I like seeing how far somebody will go.
Speaking to that, I know there's a doctor who, uses holistic, natural remedies. So if we can learn a little bit on the show, I'd like that.
Yeah.
The more you know.
I know, I love learning things like that on the show. And it kind of, actually, I wonder if it will shift my perspective on what I would do or how things would go. Because from watching The Walking Dead, from watching Hunger Games, I have already shifted my perspective of I don't want guns anymore. I want a crossbow or a bow and arrow if anything happens. Because that is apparently what every single character uses to survive in these shows.
Yeah.
So that has changed my perspective. I'm like, whoa, these writers have blown my mind. I don't want a gun anymore. It's a crossbow. That's what I need.
But listen, I think they should add some slingshots in this thing. There's going to be plenty of rocks outside. And slingshots can take out some people. So that's what I want, too.
My name is David, and David used the slingshot on Goliath, so that's what I do. That's some biblical references for you right there.
And I do have a question. So now, this might sound crazy, but does this mean that pregnancy rates are going to go up because now you won't have
we'll still
access
have
to
some condoms, I guess.
Yeah, but you're going to run out.
You're going to run out, Dave. What are you going to do when you're going to run out?
No, they use like
pig
sheep.
skin.
Yeah, they use other.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, sheepskin.
Yeah.
Go to the natural doctor. Hook you up with some sheepskin.
Or I think about things like, okay,
that's the first thing I'm getting when I go to the store.
That's a great point, though.
No, I'm serious. Like, all jokes aside, I mean, I think about, like, would it be an increase in pregnancy rates?
Well, then you also have to wonder about giving birth, because we use science so much for that sake, and how many women would survive. And, I mean, at least we know now, wash your hands, and that's something they didn't know in the medieval times, and that's why a lot of people died. There's actually a saint who was famous for giving birth, and she became a saint because of that. And it turned out, when people look back, oh, she was the only person washing her hands before she would help a person give birth.
Are you disproving religious followers?
No, this is just an actual thing I learned in the medieval class, so I'm not trying to prove anything wrong.
Because I was just thinking people were probably thinking like, oh, she's a saint because she actually, like, the babies don't die when she delivers it, but it was just because she washed her hands.
Well, I mean, that was just like, yeah, that was the reason back then, but I mean...
How to become a saint, wash your hands.
Right, but I'm not trying to dispute anything with that, but that is, like, one thing at least we know now, so we do have some more knowledge about that, but you have to think, like... I have no idea how. Yeah. I don't know who I would take, my wife or girlfriend or whatever to if that happened. Yeah. I'd have no idea. Yeah. So.
And then if you're going to go back, if this is taking us kind of back steps, how does that affect our health as far as are people going to start dying younger again? All of those type of things. We're not going to have the same medical access that we have. So does that overall affect the entire race of people because of the fact that we're not advancing anymore?
Yeah, and I guess you can't get like shots too to kind of get immunities.
I mean, I think we won't be technologically advancing, but as human beings, the growth we would establish would be remarkable.
But
please
still,
let
when
this
you think,
happen.
but when you think about the fact that we'd be dying sooner, in a sense, we would be kind of going back in steps.
But we would be living more than we ever have.
You can do this right now, Kristen. There are people who just get rid of everything and live in the mountain.
Who's with me?
I'm going.
Get a pirate ship right now.
Mountains aren't too
Seriously,
bad.
like, if that was an option, like, if they're taking volunteers from Mars, like, I'm on it.
All right, they are. There was that program that was literally like train for 18 years to go live on Mars. There is a program that's doing that right now. They just shoot you to Mars and never return you. So they're trying to start a colony on Mars. So you can do that.
I'll look into that.
Let's move forward, guys. So face it, guys. We all love a good comedy. It's human nature, for God's sake. So Fox's premiering Tuesday is stacked with them. First you have Zooey Deschanel. She's back for a season premiere of New Girl. And she's laid off on this season, looking for work. And then, from the producers of New Girl, there's another new series coming out. Same station. One of the year's best new comedies. It was rated Ben and Kate. So it's kind of about, and I was watching the premiere of it earlier, and Ben and Kate is about, Ben's kind of an idiot. A really, really big idiot. And Kate has a son and is trying to get back in the dating world, and it's kind of like Ben screwing it over for her, but they really love each other and relate because they're family. But it's kind of like that off of like the smart, normal one and the idiot, but how the idiot kind of teaches you a moral lesson in the end.
I like that.
But yeah, it was a fun premise. And then with the season premiere of New Girl, after that, there's also Mindy Kaling, and she has a brand new office, and she's got the series premiere of her new comedy, The Mindy Project, which I also watched, and I gotta say from watching it that it kind of starts slow. like the first 5 minutes are a little slow, but after that it just gets rolling. It's like punchline, punchline, punchline comedy, and she talks really fast too in the show, so it means you're also getting extra jokes in there. But it was good. There was after the first 5 minutes I was skeptical, so watch after that, and it gets really good. So guys, check it out for Fox premiere. It's Tuesdays on September 25th, starting at 8 p.m. And with that, we'll take a break.
Oh, okay. Commercial break, please.
No commercial breaks. I guess so. We will not be taking a commercial break. We will go.
All right. Well, that was our commercial break, I guess.
I'm so excited for Mindy's new show because I love her on The Office, and she wrote a bunch of those episodes. So I'm interested to see what they do with that. And I definitely am a huge Zoe Deschanel fan.
I love
like
her.
I love New Girl. Me
too.
Sing it in my car.
And I think we're gonna see 2 episodes a night then, right? There's 2. From what I heard.
Are there the season premiere that I watched, the second season? I liked it more than the previous one because it seems like the writers have kind of hit their stride. They're done establishing the characters. So I think season 2 is good. If you watch, you can watch the premiere right now actually on Hulu. If you want to watch any of those 3 premieres, so you definitely check them out.
All right.
I like Mindy Kaling. Now, is she no longer on The Office at all, or is she doing double duty?
Well, The Office is last season coming up.
Yeah, but is she going to be on that last season?
I think so, probably. Like, I don't think they can get rid of Kelly, and even if she's on there, it's always kind of a side part, so she's not one of the main main characters. So she's able to do this on the side.
So Derrial, what news do you have for us about Revolution? Because we've got the news down for these shows, and now Revolution.
Ooh, I get the music.
TV news.
All right, so news and gossip. Well, for Revolution, they actually are incorporating a lot of actors from other shows that we've known. Kim Raver, who was on 24 and Grey's Anatomy, is going to be joining Revolution this season, and they said that she has a pretty significant role. So we're excited about that. Dave Manure has landed a reoccurring role on the Revolution. He was formerly from Justified. So it seems that they're trying to incorporate some actors from other shows that are pretty decent, big names that
bring those fans
over, which will build the buzz and the numbers for the show. In addition to that, it is being predicted that this show, there's pretty much a high anticipation that the show's going to do well this season. So a lot of critics have been reviewing the show and said the first episode's pretty good. So we're hoping that keeps us going for the rest of the season. So that's what I have right now.
That's your AfterBuzz TV news and gossip.
Didn't we have a little more too? I thought
she was going to talk about.
I was reading some of the reviews as well, just saying how good it was, and we talked about Comic-Con that it had maybe gotten some mixed reviews, but all the stuff I read online for people who had seen it earlier were just saying it's good, it's interesting, it kind of whets your appetite to have some more.
Yeah,
you want to see more, and as somebody who saw it, I'm definitely interested to see how they go with everything. I think it was a good introduction and a good build up.
Well, then let's jump on that and go into predictions. So cue another song.
And now your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Let's start with John.
Wow, predictions. I was just thinking I want to see Ninja Stars and Nunchucks, and I don't know why.
I'm going to be the ninja there. Kristen will be the pirate, I'll be the ninja,
okay.
And we'll have it happen.
But John, how do you think these characters are going to deal with this?
Predictions. I don't know. I mean, there's so many ways you can go with this. My favorite thing about Revolution is the reminder, the themes and the reminder for us, the audience. Because I think it's such a great opportunity for them to, as far as communication, where we're going, and reminding us the connection and stuff that we may not value as much because of technology.
Yeah, it's a cautionary tale. Yeah. Hopefully we learn from this show. Probably won't. But we need to develop a smarter grid that's not operating so close to capacity. So if this blackout would occur, we would be able to regain electricity. And also, we need to develop shielding to protect our electrical infrastructure from magnetic fluctuations as much as possible. We don't have any shields right now. Like, let's spend money somewhere it might be important to everyone.
I want a giant medieval shield. It probably wouldn't do much, but that's what I'm imagining right now.
I mean, I was talking about shields for our
I know what you were talking about, but this is what I'm imagining in my head.
All right.
I guess what I think is going to happen, prediction-wise, is we're going to see a big power struggle and fight for electricity because, as the premise has kind of shown us, from, and I haven't watched anything from the actual show, so this is just speculation from the premise, but I think people are going to be trying to find out there is some electricity, there is a way to get it back. How do we get it back? And that is going to be power, because it's always a power struggle. Who has the best technology? As we know from Jon Favreau and Iron Man, it's all about technology and who has the biggest technology and weapons. So I think electricity is going to be key there. And Jon Favreau is actually directing the premiere episode, so there's that connection there. And I think there's going to be a little love romance between Charlie and Nate Walker, Nate being the dude in the muscle shirt, and they're going to have ends meet because he's part of the militia, she's just a normal farm girl, so, but I think there's going to be romance there. What do you think? Or I guess you've already watched it, but what were your kind of thoughts?
My kind of thought is, I think you said it's definitely going to be a bunch of struggles, and I hope we meet a bunch of new characters, because I hope these guys kind of take it on the road once they get their group together and do search for a solution. And that's what I'm hoping for.
I also think we're going to see a lot of crossbow action.
I hope we see some happiness and people just like chilling out.
Yeah.
Like I want to see a hippie group who's just like, forget about it.
Forget about it.
We had this covered. We were ready for it.
So, guys, I am Dave Klein. You can follow me on Twitter at @TheDaveKlein, or go to my website, djk-online.com, and check on all of us for all the Revolution news. What about you guys?
I'm Kristen Elizabeth Snyder, and you can Bing Cinematic Escape, or you can follow Cinematic Escape on Twitter.
Hey guys, I'm Derrial Christon. You can follow me under the same name, Derrial, last name Christon, or find me on Facebook.
And I'm Kristin Carole, and you can follow me on Twitter on TheFan, FAN2TOCSEN.
And what about our angry therapist?
I'm John Kim, and you could meet me at theangrytherapist.com.
Yeah, for a Google Plus therapy session, right?
Yeah.
We can just come and join your therapy session?
Yes, you can jump into my group, or you can talk about relationships, whatever you want.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week for the actual premiere of the show. We are so excited!
Woo! Revolution!
Let's start the revolution.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.